What's going on, man? We back with another video, though. Before we do or say anything else, all praise to the Most High. Today we have every point of knockout on the human body. The note, man. Look, before we even get into this video, be careful out there. Don't fight if you don't have to, because this ain't just a point of knockout. That knockout could be very extensive. Let's get right into it.
The jaw, mandible button. The point of the chin, the tip of the mandible bone, is the most reliable knockout point on the human body. The anatomy is simple. The jaw acts as a lever arm for head rotation, and the chin is the longest distance from the pivot point at your neck. When a strike lands clean on the chin, it causes rapid rotational acceleration of the brain inside the skull. The brain doesn't move with the skull. It floats in cerebrospinal fluid. When your head rotates violently, the brain twists and stretches, causing neurons to temporarily malfunction. That's the knockout. Uppercuts, hooks, and overhands all target this point effectively. You see it across all combat sports. Countless UFC and boxing knockouts come from clean chin shots. The physics of leverage explain why it works. The chin is the furthest point from the axis of rotation at your neck. A strike there generates maximum rotational velocity. The perpendicular impact creates the worst-case scenario for your brain. Maximum rotation, maximum stretch, maximum trauma. Defensively, tucking your chin reduces the lever arm length. When your chin is tucked to your chest, it's harder for strikes to generate the same rotation. This is why chin down is the first rule of fighting. The jaw is the most reliable knockout point, proven across every combat sport in existence. The temple, pterion. The temple sits on the side of your head between the eye and ear. It's where 4 skull bones meet, and it's the thinnest part of your skull at only 3 to 4 millimeters thick. Just beneath this thin bone runs the middle meningeal artery, one of the primary blood supplies to the protective layers around your brain. The knockout mechanism is direct. The thin bone transmits impact straight to the brain with less cushioning than other areas of the skull. There's also a rotational component. Side impacts cause the brain to rotate inside the skull, plus direct trauma to the brain tissue itself. Hooks, spinning back fists, and head kicks to the temple are the most common techniques.
Mind you, these are all combat sport techniques. Who finna do, man, if I'm fighting somebody and they pull a spinning back fist, I think a spinning back fist, you better pray to God that I don't have nobody with me, because we jumping you. Simple. All right, who told you to even do that? That ain't even a part of what we supposed to be doing here. And if I got a weapon, I'm using it. Yeah, what's wrong with you, bro? Like, all right.
The danger factor is real. If the middle meningeal artery ruptures, it causes an epidural hematoma, which is a medical emergency. Blood pools between the skull and brain, creating pressure that can be fatal without surgery. You see head kick knockouts land on the temple constantly in MMA and kickboxing. The structural weakness in the skull creates a direct path to brain tissue. You need less force to cause a knockout hitting the temple than hitting the forehead or back of the head. The temple is an extremely effective but dangerous knockout point. It's legitimate and proven. The carotid sinus, neck. The carotid sinus sits on both sides of your neck where the carotid artery branches, just below the angle of your jaw. It contains baroreceptors that regulate blood pressure and heart rate. The knockout mechanism is different from concussive knockouts. When you stimulate the carotid sinus with a strike or pressure, it causes a sudden blood pressure drop through the vagus nerve. This is called a vasovagal response. Your body has baroreceptors that monitor blood pressure. When those receptors sense high pressure, they signal your body to lower it. A strike to the carotid sinus tricks those receptors. Your body thinks blood pressure is too high and drops it rapidly. Your brain doesn't get enough blood. You lose consciousness. This isn't brain trauma, it's a blood pressure crash. Strikes or direct pressure to the side of the neck can trigger this. Blood chokes, like the rear naked choke, compress the carotid sinus to cause unconsciousness in 8 to 13 seconds. The recovery is faster than concussive knockouts because there's no brain trauma involved. It's purely neurological. The carotid sinus works through involuntary autonomic response. Your body shuts down regardless of how tough you are. This is a legitimate pressure point with a clear mechanism. Behind the ear, mastoid process. Behind your ear is a bony protrusion called the mastoid process, where the skull meets the neck. The inner ear and vestibular system sit nearby. The knockout mechanism involves impact disrupting the vestibular system that controls balance, plus it causes brain rotation. Your inner ear controls equilibrium and spatial awareness. Trauma to this area affects both immediately. Hooks that wrap around the head and hammer fists in ground, fighting target this area. Even without a full knockout, strikes behind the ear cause severe disorientation and loss of coordination. You see flush hooks behind the ear cause delayed knockouts in boxing and MMA. The fighter stays standing for a second, then their legs give out and they collapse. This works because it's a combination of brain rotation and vestibular system disruption. The area has minimal muscle protection. The bone sits close to the surface with nothing cushioning it. When impact lands clean behind the ear, it scrambles your sense of balance and rotates your brain simultaneously. You can't stay upright when your vestibular system stops functioning. Behind the ear is an effective knockout point that causes immediate equilibrium loss even in fighters with good chins. The liver, right side ribs. The liver sits on the right side of your torso below the floating ribs. It's the largest internal organ with a dense nerve supply connecting directly to the vagus nerve. The knockout mechanism is vagus nerve stimulation causing a parasympathetic nervous system dump. This isn't about pain. It's a system shutdown that's completely involuntary. The delayed effect is unique. An opponent may stay standing briefly after the liver shot lands, then collapse seconds later as the neurological response kicks in. You see this constantly in boxing and kickboxing. Fighter gets hit to the body, looks fine, then drops to the canvas 5 seconds later. Left hooks to the body, left body kicks, and knees to the right side all target the liver. The liver cannot be conditioned. Unlike muscles that you can strengthen through training, the liver is an organ. Impact causes the same response regardless of how tough you are or how much conditioning you've done. The biological response overrides willpower completely. Your body shuts down whether you want it to or not. The liver is the most reliable body knockout point. When it's hit clean, it's unstoppable. No amount of toughness or conditioning changes that. Solar plexus, celiac plexus. The solar plexus sits in the center of your abdomen just below the sternum, behind your stomach. It's a dense nerve cluster controlling abdominal organs and the diaphragm. The knockout mechanism is direct. Impact paralyzes the diaphragm and breathing becomes impossible. This is different from a liver shot. The solar plexus affects breathing, not blood pressure. When your diaphragm spasms from impact, you cannot inhale. The panic response is immediate. Your body doubles over reflexively trying to get air that won't come. Straight body punches, front kicks, and knees to the midsection all target this point. You see body shot stoppages when the opponent can't continue because they've lost their wind completely. Recovery takes 30 to 60 seconds. The diaphragm has to stop spasming before you can breathe normally again. During that time, you're completely defenseless. No air means no fighting. You don't need to knock someone unconscious, you just need to make them unable to breathe. The solar plexus is a reliable stopping point. It doesn't require a knockout, just breathing disruption, and the fight is over. Base of skull, brainstem area. The base of the skull, where the skull meets the spine and the occipital bone area, is the most dangerous knockout point on the body. The brainstem controls involuntary functions like breathing and heart rate. The cerebellum controls coordination. Direct trauma to the brainstem causes immediate shutdown of these systems. This is why rabbit punches to the back of the head are illegal in almost every combat sport. The danger is extreme. Brainstem damage can cause permanent injury or death. You rarely see this in professional fighting because rules prevent targeting it, but accidental impacts occur. When they do, fighters get disqualified or the fight is called a no contest. The defensive instinct of turning away from strikes exposes the back of your head, creating natural vulnerability. The brainstem is the control center for your entire body. Trauma there causes total system failure. This isn't like other knockouts where you wake up in a few seconds. Brainstem trauma can stop you from breathing or cause permanent neurological damage. The base of the skull is the most dangerous knockout point. It's illegal for very good reason. It's potentially lethal. The nose, nasal bone. The bridge of the nose is thin nasal bone and cartilage with extensive nerve supply connected to your tear ducts. There's a common myth that the nose can be driven into the brain. That's anatomically impossible. The nasal bone doesn't go anywhere near your brain. But the nose isn't actually a knockout point anyway. The actual effect of striking the nose is that it breaks easily, causes profuse bleeding, and makes your eyes water uncontrollably. The tears flood your eyes reflexively because your tear ducts connect directly to your nasal passages. Blood pours down your face, obscuring vision. The combination of tears and blood...
Have y'all ever had a broken bone, bro? Jesus Christ. That's, I ain't gonna lie, that's one of the scariest things in my life. Like, I'm scared of that. I don't want to break no bones. I sure enough don't want to break no facial bones. I don't want to break my nose, nothing, cause Jesus. That got to be the worst pain ever, dog. Anybody ever had that before? Please put it in the comments. How did it feel?
Blood means you can't see. Baz, straight punches, elbows, and headbutts all
See what
target
I'm
the
saying,
nose. You see nose breaks constantly in MMA and boxing. They rarely cause knockouts, but they often stop fights. The referee or doctor stops the bout due to the bleeding, or the fighter can't continue because they can't see. The myth exists because people confuse stopping a fight with causing a knockout. The nose is not a knockout point, but it's extremely effective for fight-ending damage through bleeding and vision loss. Vagus nerve, side of neck. The vagus nerve runs down both sides of your neck alongside the carotid artery. It controls your parasympathetic nervous system, heart rate, digestion, and blood pressure. The knockout mechanism is direct stimulation causing vasovagal syncope. Your body shuts down involuntarily. This is similar to the carotid sinus, but involves directly striking the nerve itself, rather than just the baroreceptors. Sharp strikes with fingertips, knuckles, or the edge of your hand to the side of the neck can trigger this response. The immediate effect is blood pressure drop, nausea, and potential unconsciousness within seconds. You see this less in professional sports because it's difficult to target precisely. It's more common in self-defense scenarios where precision, striking to the neck is viable. The vagus nerve works through autonomic nervous system override. It's an involuntary response regardless of conditioning or toughness. The danger factor is real. Hard strikes to the vagus nerve can cause serious complications including potential stroke. The vagus nerve is a legitimate neurological knockout point. It works through biology, not trauma. Brachial plexus stun, shoulder-neck junction. The brachial plexus sits in the soft pocket between your neck, clavicle, and the front of your shoulder. It's a dense nerve bundle that supplies your entire arm with motor and sensory nerves. This isn't a pure knockout point. It creates a stunning effect with temporary arm weakness and disorientation.
So
The problem
like
is it's deeper
funny
than the pressure
bone
points. It
times
requires
10.
hard impact through muscle and tissue to reach the nerve cluster. Downward forearm smashes, palm heel drives, and ridge hand strikes target this area.
Man, if somebody hit me like this or like this, we ain't fighting no more. You should run. I'm telling
Rarely
you.
see it cause full knockouts in professional fighting. It's more common in street encounters where the angles and targeting are different. When hit clean, it creates a stinger sensation, shooting down the entire arm. You lose shoulder strength, your grip fails. The arm drops and stops responding temporarily. The inconsistency comes from the fact that it's surrounded by muscle and bone. It's hard to hit the nerve cluster precisely. The brachial plexus is a legitimate stunning point, but it's unreliable for knockouts. It's more effective for arm disruption than causing unconsciousness. When it works well, but it requires perfect placement and significant force. Also, if you want to help support the channel, as well as take your martial arts to a new level, check out my ebook, which is a full practical guide for conditioning yourself as a martial artist. The link is in the video description below.
A lot of y'all need to read this book. I should go get it too. We'll see. That's gonna do it for this video. Like I say, before you have these problems, just avoid fighting if you can. But now you know if you do have to fight, whoever you fighting, you know exactly where to hit them at. For sure. I'm talking about education though. Yeah, yes sir. Put you down. All right, look. I catch y'all in the next one. Eat fruit, get some money, avoid fights, and prepare yourself for the unexpected. Better be prepared than not. Catch y'all in the next one.